Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at CoreWeave. It is time for another update and we have finally managed to break above the beginning of this last wave to the downside, which is telling us that this wave is certainly done. We aren't expecting any further extensions within this push to the downside. We have broken above the resistance levels already in the previous video, but now we broke above the beginning of this movement. And we will be discussing more about what we expect to occur further, but before that I would like to go quickly through the larger time frame for any of you who might be new. And here we have been tracking this idea of a 1-2 setup, and within this retracement in wave 2 we had this area of support from the day one. From the first day we have actually covered this stock. We were around these levels and we were expecting a retracement into this area between the $97 all the way down to the $48.5 level. And we were actually looking for a potential bottom already within this push to the downside, but since we failed to hold internal levels of support within this structure, we were actually preferring continuation lower within a couple of scenarios. We managed to break through the first interpretation that was allowing extensions lower, but within this interpretation in yellow, we were able to reach quite high into the resistance levels before heading back to the downside and completing the next wave. And now we actually have a quite clear structure within a 3-wave pattern in an ABC movement to the downside, which is telling us that a bottom could be in place. We don't need any additional lows to actually consider this structure complete, and we could already start to look for the next wave to the upside. Now, within this interpretation, we are tracking a wave 1 up and a wave 2 down. In this case, we expect a wave 3 to follow, in which case we expect to get here to the ideal target within such a pattern at the 138.2% extension of the wave 1 around the $680 level. And it is true that we don't have a guarantee that this will be a wave 3 in the end, but we do expect still with high probability at least another 5-wave move to the upside. Now, whether that is a wave 3 and gets to this level, whether that is a wave C and maybe only gets to the ideal target of the wave C, let's say the 100% extension, the $356.8 level or around that area anyway, because those are a bit estimative. I didn't draw using the magnetic tool, but it is around that area, around the $350-$360 level, the ideal target for the wave C. Although for the wave C we need to allow a bit more range. It could end up being a bit lower, it could end up being even much higher. But depending on the internal structure, we should be able to get a pretty good guess when we should expect a likely top to be in place, and when we should actually expect still further continuations higher. We will have relevant areas of support that will allow continuations higher or provide a signal, if broken, that we should expect rather a failure. But yeah, for now, we are still waiting for more confirmation that we have indeed bottomed, because we did get here to the 61.8% retracement, which is the inverse of the golden ratio, but we don't necessarily have a confirmation. We don't have an initial 5-wave move to the upside that would tell us after a 3-wave correction we would expect at the very least another 5-wave move to the upside that would very likely end up being, for example, a wave 3. But this is exactly what we are tracking. We are looking for the initial 5-wave move to the upside, and if you are interested from a longer time frame perspective, this is still considered an accumulation area. Even if we did push back higher, we are still within the area of support, and we are at levels that previously were considered a discount. Before we actually got into this wave B to the upside, these levels were considered a discount and were very interesting for many people. Those still can be considered interesting levels. It is still, in my opinion, an accumulation area. But yeah, within this structure to the upside, unfortunately, we don't necessarily have the most clear pattern, and initially we were actually even allowing within this extension lower a possible push to the downside, as within this structure, even though we did break above the last level of resistance, we only formed a 3-wave pattern. Now that could be building a large leading diagonal, but it's not necessarily a high probability interpretation, and good enough we did break the area of resistance. It was a signal that we did manage to hold here a bit above. We even tested it from above, but we did retrace back into an area of support afterwards. Now, we did break above the beginning, so we completely invalidated this interpretation, and I can actually even remove it now, but we were looking here for a correction in a wave 2 for a 3rd wave to follow to the upside. Now, no guarantee that it will work out this simple. It will be this simple. And initially I might have even been able to track this as a series of 1-2 setups within this area, because I can see that we in this idea. We actually retraced perfectly. Actually, let me get here into the 30 minute. But yeah, within this interpretation of an internal 1-2 setup within this area, we retraced perfectly into the last level of support. We did hold it, we did create a reaction. But unfortunately, what is really not letting me track a larger impulse, where this could be indeed a series of 1-2 setups, is this structure. Within this area, we have failed to create an impulse. Yeah, I would have needed an impulse to track a third wave here. Now, this could still work out technically as a larger 5-wave move to the upside in another wave 1, but we would already be at the 5th 1-2 setup within this area, and it's not necessarily going to be the highest probability structure. In such an interpretation, I would rather need to be prepared that, yeah, we would rather be tracking something less unrealistic, something more along the lines of a diagonal structure, in which case I would probably be better off considering this to be either a wave C or an ABC structure to the upside. Now, in my preferred interpretation at the moment, I'm tracking this as a larger wave C to be developing. In that case, this will not be playing out exactly within the white scenario, but we would still expect continuation higher. In this interpretation, I'm looking for, let's say in the blue scenario, continuation higher still, even within this wave 3, because within this wave 3, I am actually looking for an ABC structure to build. And let me actually remove this area of support. It's not really important anymore. And within this ABC, I would actually like to see still another high, because within the wave C, I would expect a 5-wave move to the upside. I'm tracking an ending diagonal within this wave C, meaning an ABC structure in a wave 1, ABC structure in a wave 2, ABC structure in a wave 3, and ABC structure in wave 4 and in the 5th. In this case, we have only built the wave 1, 2, and 3, and we might still be within the wave 4, although consider that we did get into the area of support for such an idea. Now, if we end up failing to hold this area of support, I might still allow this to be building into, let's say, a larger ABC movement. It could still manage to break out, but it will be within an even less reliable pattern. Now, what comes next? Well, I would like to see here the 5th wave occur internally. I would like to see a top within this wave 3 afterwards. I would like to see another correction in a wave 4 and another 5th wave to complete the even larger wave C. It would still be within an ending diagonal. Keep in mind, we will be tracking a larger ABC structure within this area in the end, or who knows, maybe even a series of 1-2 setups. Yeah, this could work out. I'm not ruling out such an interpretation, especially during the beginning of a larger uptrend. We see quite choppy structures. That is why they're called leading diagonals. Yeah, we can build such patterns, and the market sentiment may overall shift into a pattern that can allow a larger wave 3 to start quite early. Yeah, we could see quite a sharp movement in the early stages if we manage to build this 5-wave move to the upside within this area. But at the moment, we are watching the area of support between the $88.4 all the way down to the $83 level. If we want, we can even look for an ideal target for this larger wave 3. Now, we won't be looking internally for the 5th wave, but I would be watching here around the 138.2% extension of the wave 1. Now, depending where I consider the wave 1 top, here or here, it might vary a bit. In this case, we have already reached it, but yeah, it might be better to be considered here. And in this case, yeah, we would actually still need to push a little higher. We would be looking at around the $95 level for this 3rd wave to have a likely top, or not necessarily have a likely top, but to be considered a more reliable wave 3. And unfortunately, the structure is still fragile. Yeah, we are tracking overall an ABC movement. In my preferred scenario, I'm not saying this could not turn into this larger wave 3 in white. We might be building here a 4th and a 5th. It might still work out into something like a wave A, a wave B, and then who knows, maybe something like a 1-2 setup in a larger ending diagonal within the wave C. But yeah, to be honest, that's not necessarily my preferred interpretation. I might actually even prefer to track this interpretation of an ABC structure alone. To be honest, that is not necessarily going to be the most likely. We should be prepared for a more significant top within the wave C or a series of 1-2 setups at this point. And for now, we are looking for higher against the $83 level, but yeah, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. And by the way, we have also a slightly generic area of resistance we can track here. I wouldn't look too much into it at the moment. I would expect still more clarity in the smaller time frame before looking for a large pattern to be unfolding to the downside. But yeah, we can also watch here this area of resistance up to the $127 level if we really need to. But for now, yeah, this is it. Have a nice day and bye bye.